Here I am, somehow, warmer than before, though wounded, perhaps, a new thing for me, heart aching, legs shaking, fear ripping through me. Yet I cannot say that I am not alive. Yes, I suppose that's it. Alive. I am alive. I hold tight to the warm human hand pulling me from the wreckage. I don't know what comes next, but I find I want stories. Story after story after story must be mine. I want them, and they will be mine. So, here are a few, just to get me through the darkness of this strange time, where I am no longer monster, but perhaps not fully human yet, but getting there, getting closer, getting closer. In the meantime, even if I have nothing else, at least these stories are mine. Here. I have only heart enough to give them to you, quickly and strangely. I hope it will suffice, dear listener, dear humans. Once upon a time, a long, long, long time ago, before time, before place, before the earth was fully made, before the ground on which I believe we stand was solid, and before the air in which I believe we breathe was blown, there were two somethings. I would say gods, but that, even that word, big as it is, would be inaccurate, reductive, small. That's not quite what they were. Before this earth was formed, they too found themselves in a world of only light and dark, sound and silence. The first was the being of darkness, emptiness, silence. In a gentle and hidden kind of way, it slithered and turned and twisted about, lonely and sad and bitter, and growing just the littlest bit tired of all this darkness, emptiness, and silence, yet sure of its supremacy in this space of nothingness. And in the middle of that discontent burst through a being of light, a soul that was bright, strong, powerful, a voice in the silence calling out loudly that it was here and it was hungry. It wanted something. It came into the darkness of the place, spreading its light, spreading its sound, stretching itself out rather gloriously, seeking, claiming, marking every place it could find, until it noticed something. The shadows, the darkness, the nothingness was alive. The being of darkness noted too that whatever this light, noisy thing was, it was not a thing, but a someone, somehow, in a way you or I might not be able to understand. There were suddenly two consciousnesses here, battling, fighting, dancing. Suddenly, boredom and loneliness and bitterness were all no more, and there was only this need to claim. Claim what? Claim whatever they could. This place, this dimension, this state of being. But perhaps more importantly, each other, whatever they were. Mine, mine, mine. They chanted in chorus as they twisted, turned, raged, laughed, danced, fought, sang, shrieked. Mine, mine, mine. Once upon a time, a great war was being waged that took over the entire world. The world saw once again, as it always will, time and time and time again, cruelty, despair, greed, vengeance, among other very human and very terrible things. A general stood on a battlefield, strong, bright, powerful, shining in bright, colorful armor in the midday sun, in front of a crowd of hundreds, maybe even thousands of soldiers. A beacon of violent fury and confused pride. Looking over the land, one word rang out in the general's mind. Mine, 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 mine. And it rang out so strongly that thousands of the general's soldiers echoed the word, mine, 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 mine. And there was great cheering and celebration for something so strange and awful. But what the general didn't know was that there was a mercenary moving through the crowd, silent and hidden, mysterious, dark, almost magical in the way the movements were so undetectable, even by hundreds, maybe even thousands of enemies. The assassin, the mercenary, a kind of soldier in their own right, used the silence and the shadows to their advantage. There was a wonderful freedom in not shining, and this assassin did not want to slaughter hundreds or thousands, as this general desired with their army. This assassin only wanted one life in exchange for hundreds, for thousands. Such a simple desire, but no less dark, perhaps, for the desire of taking any life is a terrible thing. But the world and the humans within it are full of mistakes, aren't we? And that night, in the general's tent, as they slept peacefully, the silent one, the dark and stealthy one, poison in their hand and determination in their eyes, had only one thought in their head, as they thought only one word over and over and over. Mine, mine, mine. Once upon a time, 2 ghosts lived, if we can call it that, in the same mansion. The first had been there for over 200 years, having been the first owner's wife. She found herself in a loveless marriage after having been practically sold into it by her family. She had been a beautiful and bright young thing, gowns golden like the sun, eyes shining with a light of their own. And even years of misery could not dim them. The only thing in her life that she loved was the house itself. She loved it so much that she destroyed herself to remain there forever. And even as a ghost, she was bright and glimmering and shining, her laughter ringing loudly through the halls, terrifying anyone who entered, except for one woman, 200 years later. She moved into the house alone, an old and wealthy divorcee, having been in and out of her own loveless marriages and finding she wanted to end her life in solitude, in peace, in quiet, and in a beautiful, dark house. When she found this one, it was love at first sight. She lived her days quietly, and when the ghost of the laughing, brilliant, and beautiful young woman appeared, running and giggling through her beloved halls, the old woman was not afraid, but enraged. This was her house, after all. She tried everything she could to banish the spirit, to bring quiet to the place. But the spirit only grew louder, prouder, stronger, shaking the walls of the house, roaring, bellowing, staking her 200-year-old claim. Until the old woman died. And then, once again, she was young. Her dark, phantom hair flowed behind her like shadow. The silk gowns of her youth, dark and lovely too. Her eyes large and black. She moved swiftly and silently through her home, admiring every joint and bone of the place, until she found the golden, beautiful one, who finally saw her back. They looked at each other, each daring the other to leave, to fly away, to depart this timeless dimension of this house they both adored so. And mysterious dark eyes looked into proud, luminous ones, and the two opened their ghastly mouths in an eternal scream, their ghostly voices tearing through the ancient place as they yelled over and over and over, "Mine, mine, 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 mine." Once upon a time, 2 pirate lords found themselves questing for the same treasure. After braving sea after sea, kraken after kraken, enemy after enemy, it was a race to the finish line. identical maps in hand, and no more crew left for either of them to steer across the sea and back to some distant rum-soaked port. The one brutally hacked his way through the brush, towards the X that marked the spot that their coveted riches were buried under, grunting and roaring to reach it as quickly as possible. The other moved deftly, quickly, and silently, sleek as a panther, knowing the islands of this sea better than any other, and completely comfortable in the shadows of them. The silent pirate reached the treasure first and began to dig quickly, quietly, whispering over and over, "Mine, mine, mine." But out, roaring through the forest like a great beast, the other came, and he was far too powerful, far too strong, his sword blazing in the light of his torch, and he bellowed the one word over and over, "Mine, mine, mine." The brightness of his fury, the fire of his rage bursting through the shadows, his sword coming down again and again. Once upon a time, in the depths of a deep, dark jungle, there was a tiger. Golden and proud, she lay reclined by a clear river, picking the bones of her prey she had killed hours before. Belly full and hunger sated, the tiger licked the blood from her chops happily. "Mine, mine, mine, mine," rang through her mind, looking at the bones of the deer before her, idly batting them with her great paw. Truly, she felt the entire jungle was hers, as she gazed at her reflection in the river. She was surely the queen of the jungle. How golden, how bright, how loud her purr. Strong, powerful. Ah, what in this world isn't mine, 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 she thought to herself, as her eyelids grew heavy in her absolute fullness of self. And, dangling from a tree above, a grinning king cobra watched her. He laughed silently to himself at the foolishness pride can bring out in even the most powerful creatures. How misplaced her dignity was compared to his, for he knew that true strength, true power, lay in masking oneself in the beauty of the trees, slithering blissfully through the darkness of the jungle, becoming one with every rustle of every blade of grass, feeling the coolness of the river rippling throughout his entire glorious body, moving unknown but feared by all who were wise enough to become aware of his presence. He was surely the king of the jungle, so large, so strong, so venomous, yet so very silent, mysterious, dark. His soft hissing, his gentle breathing went unnoticed in the loud rumble of the tiger's sleepy purr. He didn't know why he wanted her, why he felt he would take her life this night. Maybe it was her callous conceitedness, her immense ego. Maybe he saw a bright and shiny thing and wanted to wrap himself around it, and take it into his lair to keep him warm. Maybe he wanted the jungle to know who truly was king. Maybe he was just bored. But he slithered up to her great body, admiring each and every stripe and reveling in each and every purr. And he weighed his decision before succumbing to the word ringing out through his clever reptilian brain. Mine, mine, mine. Once upon a time, a woman stood in line in a coffee shop and saw a man. Such a simple thing. Such a typical, silly, simple thing. She couldn't even see his face as she stood behind him. But in her mind echoed one word. And funnily enough, the man felt something behind him. A presence, something dark and something silent. Through the center of his chest, a strange pulling, a strange kind of draw, and he found himself turning around, the lineup in front of the cash register falling away to oblivion as he met eyes with a woman whose body he was certain he'd never ever seen before. And as he turned around, suddenly, for the woman, everything was blinding light and deafening loudness. That word in her mind screaming louder and louder and louder. So loud that he heard it too, and it echoed in his mind over and over and over. Between their eyes was a fire, a dance of light and dark. Their hearts oscillating a song of silence and cacophony, a frantic and desperate kind of feeling. And though they both felt, for a moment, unsure of whether they ought to run or stay, they were frozen in place. What they didn't know was that the word itself, the play of light, the dance of silence, had grown into something beyond both of them. In his eyes, he saw a thing of mystery and darkness and magic. In her eyes, she saw a thing of strength and light and power. And in both of their minds, that word took over, and they did not know that it was entirely new to both of them. Yours, 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 yours. I am thinking a lot about the idea of change. I am thinking about how we change, how we grow. Can we grow? Can we, after such a long time of doing the same things over and over and over, being driven by the same goals, can we change? Have we ever really changed? Are we just dancing the same dance in a different way, on and on, until something dawns upon us and we suddenly know different? I must go. I must go be human again for a little. May not be back for a little while. Just going to carve out a little humanity that will be much well, we'll see. La 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 Hello, my friends. Thanks so much for listening to episode 284 of On a Dark, Cold Night. This is Kristen Zaza, your host, narrator, writer, composer, podcaster, etc. behind the show. Apologies for the late release this week. The summer is closing in on me and taking me to some strange, chaotic, difficult places, but I truly felt the need for some stories, so here was one. Or 6, or 1, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it, at any rate. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're resting well. Feels like an important time for that, I think. I'd like to thank everyone who supports the show on Patreon. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you, my friends. On Patreon, every supporter of $1 or more a month US gets access to my complete downloadable soundtrack of over 270 tracks, while every supporter of $5 or more a month US gets that, a monthly tarot reading video uploaded every full moon by yours truly, a monthly extra-long bonus episode every new moon, also by yours truly, and access to 70 mini meditation episodes called Quick Moments. We're coming up on my second new moon episode this weekend, and I'm looking forward to that. For these, kindred spirit patrons, that is, those who pledge $5 or more a month, can pop into the community chat exclusive to this tier and talk about whatever's on your mind, whatever you might like me to explore in this bonus episode, where we just have a casual, relaxing conversation about life, about the stars, about philosophy, spirituality, horror, who knows what else. I keep it sleepy, I like to keep it conversational, and I'm excited to do more of these. So if you'd like to learn more, visit patreon.com/darkcoldnight. You can donate one time without any perks at ko-fi.com/darkcoldnight, or by buying a t-shirt or hoodie at bonfire.com/on-a-dark-cold-night. Also, my book is available on Amazon in paperback and ebook format. It's called On a Dark, Cold Night, Tales of Loneliness, Creation, and Love. I'd love if you checked that out. Just go to Amazon, search that title, or look me up under Kristen Zaza, Kristenzaza. You can find my music on Spotify, Apple, or other music streamers by looking me up there, too. I'd love if you left a rating or a review for the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Facebook, or wherever else you like to rate and review podcasts. Follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook and YouTube under On a Dark Cold Night, Instagram at Dark Cold Night Podcast, TikTok and Blue Sky under Kristen Zaza, and Twitter at A Dark Cold Night. I think I won't be releasing an episode next week. It's my birthday, a lot's going on, I need a little break, but I'm hoping to be back at it the following week. Lots of love to you, my dear friends. Hang in there as the summer comes to a close. Take care of your human hearts. I'll take care of mine, too. Sweet dreams. This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network. Sonar.